Brothers killing brothers, sisters dissing each other. Children they split siblings now missing each other. From secret societies you removed all the covers. Abused cause some choose to be ID'd by color. Negro and black or claim a fiction on the map. Thought power is wasted on the idle god crap. Nuisance solutions, following illusions. We are old world orders but we scared of new ones. Some stuck on stupid and being humans. Some hoping Cupid would find her a new man. Sis, it will never be him, only you can. Find the one's nose that won't go like Pinocchio or Toucan. Once you think you can't, you probably won't. Might as well be hanging on a Klansman rope. Might as well jump in the coffin to get shipped up north to Canaan land, hoping someone opened the casket doors. As soon as it opened, they got a cross in your face between two slices of bread, pig marrow paste, sugar down, purple stuff, limbs hurt enough. Not free from slavery, but you doing dirt for hurting cuffs.
For the record, we in the club. We all brothers and sisters, so we in the club. But we all members of Moorish Temple. We got this going on. And no, that's not what this movement is about. This is a national movement. The nation is out there. The only reason you're here is your job is to go redeem them.
A traitor is not your brother. He hasn't learned that yet. And unfortunately, brothers and sisters, some of these kinds of people we will have to execute. There are people among us that we will absolutely chop their heads completely from their body for the betrayal of black people.
This is real vomit, a monumental nigga iconic. East Coast fly shit, pay homage. As promised, I display all the finest. Few reminders, I'm fair, don't confuse my kindness. Speak ebonics, used to get bricks on consignment. Before rap was all that black power refinement. It's economics, acknowledged through the eyes of my peers. Exotic wares, watch glare like a mop of veneers. My vibes real, rapper since the day of my birth. My first verse was like water for a nigga that thirst. We got it worse, trapped on these streets in the same zone. Niggas getting bodied cause the beef and just came home. Shots at policemen every weekend it changed tones. Chicks on their shit, it's the mix, I remain stone. The drama, honor what defines my persona. I'm from a genre, a drug money getters and ganja.
When we come to that position in time that we have to execute you, then we will carry out the sentence of death on you just like drinking water and hang your head on a pole in the black community.
What up, gangster? Keep it popular, it's like opera. Chillin' in the one-lane Gazelle with my Lockman on. Drug money bishop, used to cuddle below in the swishes. Auto man cock out of suspicion. Always in the best of the best features. All I need is cameras surrounding us quick. Go up to Neiman's, Merlot up, flashing 213. Me and my team, Alexander McQueen. Chevy turned on me, blowing more cream. Wiping the Enzo up in Queens. My goons is botanical, check the jeans, all in P coats, Peacock, Kangos, yo, the wave game, Nemo, foul styling, young Al Pacinos. The money get bigger, nigga, don't make a nigga pull out. Sign you off, box you up, little nigga, meet me at the Veterans Lounge. I got lamb on this wild, I'm eating my luck, my paper growling.
You won't sell us out. You'll be buying your future. The future of our people is not to be compromised. It would be better that you were dropped in the bottom of the sea with a millstone around your neck to betray the legitimate aspirations of our people.
Yeah. High profile life, my verse is a gift from the most high. You should thank God for my rhymes. I don't condone bullshit bars. What the fuck is you talking about? You just wanna be around stars. Knock a nigga out, make a nigga see stars. I knock off your head, you still wanna act hard. My gun smoke like ganja, get you higher than life. Yeah, that bull give you wings, bet everything on P. He's the shore, won't blast away again in the way of the Lords. Loyalty of death don't cross me. I let you live, you won't press charges on me. And all rats must die, keep me far away from punk shit we can't buy. Don't ever attach me with them, I own my catalog, nigga you getting pimped.
See these positions hungry horse. All you need is a promise that you gon' be a big nigga. And you sell out your people on a promise that the enemy will never fulfill.
do for ourselves what needs to be done.
Keep thinking it's games, you already know these beats kill you on camera, leave you dead in the street. You're still handcuffed and bloody, but no 911 calls. Bystander effect in full effect, so watching with y'all, mind blowing. Watching my people holding up traffic of innocent people. My people need to get their ass kicked. Marching and picketing is most cowardice and funkified, while dead bodies just multiply. Sisters killed in their cell. You claim it's hell, you raised and burned down your own community, not one police station. You love pork chops, but I see no police bacon. And when it comes to revolution, most of y'all are faking.
All ethnic groups in this country understand they got a nationality. Because you answer to such stupid words like
Black lives don't matter, but you still claim black. Rather film someone get choked out, but won't choke back. And the one that uploads first face charges Trump's up. What you think will happen when President Trump's up? More killing and murders of stateless herds. Hoods are concentration camps now, ghettos are birds. Gun stores short on ammo, they're melting down church bells. Black seek shelter in temples where God doesn't dwell. That's why a foreigner can walk in and shoot up your service. Praying to invisible gods give you the curses. You pray to relinquish, that's none of my business. I suggest you nationalize with the quickness. I suggest you study law, stop with it in your face. I see them spray the pepperish liquid, then pouring white milk on your face. I thought that milk was the devil. Some weapons drown the noise level. Boys, you rebels.
because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and color and black. You have
The point that I'm making, blacks are mistaken. Call them highwaymen, not cracker pigs or bacon. Taking your tax dollars and riot gear, they relaxing. Cause in a black status, don't even think about a class action. Don't even think about rights being respected without getting injected. I see you infected. Then the same ones that violate the laws you re-elected. Your vote matters more than black lives, feel disrespected. Control the Negroes, looks tested and perfected. That's why about being black, I'm skeptic and left it. My people are tripping, walking with arms like cancers who got nowhere in the 60s, so that's not the answer. And black leader, race war, instigator, puppet. Teach, kill those who killed us as justice. But have they ever killed? I think not. If they did it, CSA, nobody to show. Yellow envelope, money in escrow. Accounts overseas, not in democracies, live in hypocrisies. It's all de jure mockeries, bureaucracies, vampiric, but most can't hear it. It's only the attitude, the regalia is not clan spirit. Until my people wake up, your struggle for rights continue. And your children's organs end up on the menu. You love text but delete the messages, more send you with no status. You're in the jurisdiction and venue of the same beast system you attempt to defeat. Only as Moors will you get them on the heels of their feet. Of the same beast system you attempt to defeat. Only as Moors will you get them on the heels of your feet.
The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. And anytime you call a people by their right name, anytime you call a people, name a people, and fail to relate them to land, history, and culture, you have called them out of their name. There's no black man or black owner. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only it relates to a country. The name of every people in the world relate to country. And once you think instantaneously of land, you think of nationality.
Peace and love, Moors. I am Mizraim. I left L. MHHS Sons of Allah, along with my co-host, Grand Sheik, Cujo Awa L. Awo L. Peace and love, Noble. Are you with us, fam?
Islam, peace and love to all Moors. Islam is peace and love to you.
Likewise, bro. I gotta ask you before we even start. Man, it's crazy. I was kind of having difficulties logging in on my regular computer, but on the computer I'm using right now, it seems like you didn't press 1. Did you press 1, bro?
No, I don't think I pressed 1.
Doesn't matter. We here. But all I'm saying is I'm gonna try to get.
I pressed 1.
Okay, all right, that's cool. If not, it's just the icons seem a little bit different in the studio, but it's all good.
Okay.
So if there's any callers that have a question, you know, you can always feel free to press 1. We're going to try to get that up into the other format. But anyway, if it seems like nobody called, nobody's calling in, I think just for the fact that this computer is different, I might miss y'all. So it's no offense. Okay, all right. Nah, we good. People just press 1 just to, so I know we good. We good, bro. All is well. So pardon me. That just seemed like a technical difficulty, you know what I mean, based off of this different format. All is well. We here. So thanks for the callers who did just press 1 to affirm. We're going to get into it a little later on. But Islam Noble, peace and love to all the Moors, you know, active Moors, true and genuine Moors. It's good to be back, you know, to recap a few things based off of the travels we just had. And man, I'm just mind blown, bro. I still feel mind blown, and it's a beautiful thing at the same time. But it's, man, like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's just, I don't know. You know how they say the genie, the genius, the guardian spirit, bro. Like, not for nothing. You know what I mean? It's there, but I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, boasting or anything like that.
No, well, it's real though. It's
just
real because everybody has their purpose. You know what I mean? And if we're quiet enough, we'll be told what our purpose is or what our purposes are. You know what I mean? So it's a template for people because again, you know, going back doing the double recap. When did the revelation take place? When you got the hell out of the area where you're at, you went somewhere else. So your mind could have chance to expand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your spirit has chance to feel other things other than just the norm. You know what I mean? So yeah, boost yourself, bro. Don't even not boost yourself. There was that.
Yeah.
If you the amount of stuff that you're saying you got just from that little trip or whatever, then it was definitely something that had to get done. You know what I mean? And who else is gonna go about Mantis Views 29 to bring it back? You know
no, I'm bringing it back. No, we bringing it back, bro.
It couldn't have been anybody else.
We're bringing it back. And not for nothing, you know what I mean? This is no ego, arrogance, or anything like that. It's just the raw fact.
Zero.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But, man, it's just so much that just has my mind blown, bro. As Tuesday, like I said, man, I'm almost lost for words, to be really honest, but it's just so much. So I guess we'll pick up on some of the things we talked about. Oh, I'm going to mention that later. But nonetheless, anyway, so one of the things that stood out to me, and I'm just going to start here because we spoke briefly about when we went and visited the plantation. And on the plaque at the plantation, it was mentioning about the so-called president that was born on a plantation, but pre-1776 or pre-Declaration of Independence, meaning he was still born on a plantation, a subject, or what people call loosely a slave. He was born into that condition because they were still subject to the king, quote-unquote, king of England, mind you. So, you know, one of the things that I found really interesting, him in that is that on that sign it had the company who manifested the sign. And of course, like we know physics, everything that has a front has a back. On one side of the sign, on both sides of the sign, it said the same exact thing, except that the numbers was different, bro. Like on one side, it said that the plaque was manifested in 1928. And then on the other side, it said that it was 1298. So I'm like, mistake, or is this a big sign, you know, to look into these numbers, these numerals right here, because they're the same exact numerals arranged a different way. So on one side of the plaque it says 1928, and on the other side it says 1298. So you know me, I didn't look at that as a mistake. I looked at that as a very clear sign of that's a message. So I researched the numerals 1298, and this has a lot to do with the initiation of the Julian calendar. So I said, even if that was a mistake, it's a clear sign to look at a certain timeline, you feel me? Even though it was apparently mixed arrangements of the numbers, they both had impacts. The year 1928, big acknowledgement to Noble Drew Ali, right? And in the year 1298, how they say if it's a mistake or not, both sides of the years was screaming something. It was screaming. So I'm like, all right, we got that, all right? Because if you look at 1298 with the Julian calendar, and what did they add on? Was it 400 years they added on, or 500 years they added on to the calendar?
Yeah, 580.
580 or something like that, right? So if it's 1298, that will put it, you know, well in the 1700s, 1800s maybe. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, 1298. Yeah, 1700s, early 1800s, you know. So I took that as a sign. But another thing I wanted to just go back over is we were speaking on Tuesday about Fort Monroe. And it didn't hit me at that particular time. But like I said, you know, having to be still and soak it up for about 5 days and continuing or even prepare my mind to soak it up more, you know what I mean, to try to explain it in this realm from my perspective, you know, that when we was there, it didn't even hit me that Fort Monroe, quote-unquote, President Monroe, who was notarized, or excuse me, was noticed for the Monroe Doctrine, which was something very important, but I say he was noticed because in all reality, Quincy Adams wrote the Monroe Doctrine while he was, quote-unquote, president. So while Monroe was president, he was speaking, quote-unquote, for the people, but, quote-unquote, John Quincy Adams was the one who wrote the Monroe Doctrine, and I find it interesting because the Monroe Doctrine was going in about Europeans no longer being able to colonize the Western Hemisphere. So it was, and I'm sure Moors had a lot to do with it, who may not be as noted in history. Nonetheless, the language of where the position that was taken, you know, being transmitted through colonists in USA seats, you know what I'm saying, like corporate, institutional, governmental seats, if you will, or de facto governmental seats, what they were saying, and then maybe we could even question that because was they still honoring the Republic at the time is the question, really. But nonetheless, the Fort Monroe has, you know, relations to, quote-unquote, President Monroe. And one thing I found really interesting about the Monroe Doctrine, bro, is that it was it in itself, in its essence, was to prevent further colonization of the American land. And I was looking in the John Bouvier's Concise Encyclopedia of Law, looking up the Monroe Doctrine, and just to read the excerpt, from page 2243. I'm not going to read the whole thing right now, but nonetheless, I find the language very interesting. And let me quote. It says, and this is just an excerpt, so for those who do have, your John Bouvier's Concise Encyclopedia of Law, by Francis Raw's third revision, or anything you can reference relative to the Monroe Doctrine, look into that. And because it says a lot. But nonetheless, it says, just a small excerpt from out of the Bouvier's. It says, while the United States exercise a sort of wardship over the New World, it recognizes that circumstances may occur in which a foreign power may lawfully exact reparation from an American state. And the language right there I was like, wow, that says a lot. Because it didn't say a United State, it said an American state. And it also referenced wardship over the New World, which is very interesting when you look at the fact that Fort Monroe is the spot where the quote-unquote first slave ships docked or was moored or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, and secured and all of these things. But mind you, even at this time, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was already in effect. And you see a lot of references to the maritime law and the law of the seas and vessels and things like that. So there's a strong, relevance to this particular fort beyond what we were just looking at, the history of it, the history of Monroe, because and it opened up another lane too as far as the true history, because it's like this, bro. Like, it was a time where Europeans were at odds with each other, fighting each other. So you had Englishmen, right, who was beefing with Spaniards outside of the Moors beef, even though Moors were the original people of all of these places. But nonetheless, like, quote unquote, what they circumscribed to look like Florida today, which used to include parts of Georgia all the way over to what they're calling Louisiana today, because Louisiana was called the West Republic of Florida. So when like, the history that these places were not all fully colonized like that yet. But nonetheless, if you take it back, Columbus couldn't get a mandate from so-called England, because so-called England, or the British, or the Britons, the ancient Britons who were Moors, they wouldn't give him a mandate to, come over to the Western Hemisphere, whereas the British Moors, or the ancient Britons, they already had relationships in the Western Hemisphere with the Moors here, to the point where they shared certain customs, which was spoken about in Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 1. So when you look at that, in England, so-called England, rejected Columbus to get a mandate to come here. He still had to get a license or permission. But the only people he was really beefing with, or knew was really beefing with the Moors heavy at the time, was the Christians in Al-Andalus, or what they call Spain, along with some Moriscos who had acquiesced to their rule. So looking at this, and I'm like, all right, so the Monroe Doctrine, they like, well, we got this, and no other Europeans can colonize the New World. So Spain, gave up their claims to what they call Florida without contest, because they was getting their ass kicked anyway by the Aboriginals there. And of course, in war and battles, there's wins and losses. So that pendulum swings. But anyway, they gave up their claim to so-called Spanish Florida, even though they never had a legitimate claim. They basically waived or abandoned the claim to other pilgrims, Europeans. And I found that interesting about the Fort Monroe. And being as though it was relative to the Hans L. and Gretel story, right? I just wanted to make this clear that in the original story, as we spoke of Tuesday, in that story at the end, the accurate ending is the stepmother died before the children came back. So she got out the way completely, just so that jewel is not missed. You know what I mean? Like the artificial mother, the fake, artificial house, the artificial existence, or nurturer, or, corporate artificial person status. She was out the way by the time they came back with further salvation for the family. But anyway, bro, it was so much revealed, just based off of doing the history of that place. And also, I wanted to make something clear, because on Tuesday's broadcast, and I have to correct this, I was saying that it was a specific type of authority that Obama exercised, but that wasn't necessarily the case. He exercised his presidential powers to exercise the Antiquity Act itself. So it was no extra, quote-unquote, authority or anything. He just exercised the Antiquity Act for the first time, November 1st, 2011. That's what it was. And it had a lot to do with, because, like I said, it's very interesting how they was trying to keep the pilgrims away from colonizing. And I'm pretty sure there's more Moorish history attached to it, because it's like, why these colonists are trying to say, well, we're the only colonists. It might relate to the divinity story of the aspect of, I forgot which verse that was, and not to be religiousized or any Christian, just looking at the moral of the story. When it was a scripture in the Bible where it said, "I'm a jealous God, have no other gods before me." I'm like, well, the Monroe Doctrine kind of seems like that. If these are Europeans telling other Europeans you can't colonize on America, it's kind of relative. You know what I'm saying? Unless there's a part of history that's missing there, or that I might not be aware of, but I could kind of put it together. Whereas, yeah, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here.
Was I breaking up?
Actually thinking. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
As you were saying about the history that's missing, when you were talking about the sign and the two different dates, it made me think about the like when they were having the backdating scandals and stuff like that, and the concept of that other date being on there is filling in the gap, because it's actually showing that the Monroe Doctrine is really in line with the Manifest Destiny, which is why they didn't want any other Europeans to be involved in their land grabbing.
Right.
Because Manifest Destiny was around that same time of the Monroe Doctrine, 18-something.
Right. Yeah, it is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, like, if when they came over here and saw the bounty that was over here, why would they want to share with kings who already have everything?
Right.
And then keep in mind that now with the sign, was the back of the sign where it had the 12 whatever day dark, or was it light?
Bro, it's crazy. I can't wait to put the footage up. And if I gotta get back on travels tomorrow, but if that wasn't the case, family, I'll be working on it like all night. Like I really would. But I'm gonna put it up. But wait till you see it, because the back of the sign, you know, like as you approach the sign, you see the sign, and you know, on the front of it, the writing is very clear, but on the back of it, it's kind of defaced. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're going to see me kind of like struggling to read it, but that's not because I can't read. When you see it, you're going to be like, yo, it is kind of hard to make that out once you compare it to the other side of the sign. When you compare that to the other side of the sign, you're going to be like, yeah, that's definitely a struggle to read. But I made it out, and I caught it. I'm like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
On this side, it say 1298, and on the other side, it say 1928. And I didn't take it as a mistake. You feel me? I just took it as a sign, and like correlating with the Julian calendar, it might be saying something. Feel me? But the words say the same exact thing. Like, it's a short paragraph, but it says the same exact thing on the front and back side. It's just at the bottom, the dates are different. That's the only difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk.
Because we know for a fact, 1200 something, they know Europeans were over here.
It's a fact.
That's a fact. Right? So it brings in the question of whose plantation. Is it really?
Oh, and believe we got the information, bro. This runs so deep, bro. Runs so deep.
Right. And why I was asking about the numbers with the light and the dark, because going back to the Manifest Destiny with the picture, that you have the European whoever in the middle. Behind her, you have the light with the cowboys and everybody's happy and stuff's going good. And then in front of her, you have the darkness and you see the Indians running and stuff like that. In the Manifest Destiny picture. Right? So, you know, to have it on the back where it's not seen in relation to Manifest Destiny, that the back or the darkness would have to be relative to the Aboriginal or the indigenous idea, opposed to the colonist idea, which is the story that they're going to present based on even the Manifest Destiny, that, you know, they're God's chosen people that came and colonized, even though they told other Europeans they couldn't colonize.
You know, but was it really them, or was they really speaking from a Republican point of view at that time? Whereas they was delivering the speeches of the people's demands. Was that the case? Feel me? Because if that was the case, I could see Moors being like, look, tell your peoples it ain't no more of this right here. It's a wrap. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? If it's a Republican form and they agreed that it's all about the people and they was living at that time, you know, in its early stages, honoring that agreement, I can see that they may have been telling their peoples, leave these Moors land alone. I don't know. I'm telling you, I really don't. Like you're saying, the Manifest Destiny and the Moors is like, look, y'all better tell y'all people something. I don't know.
Because, you know, cause it's like, it has to be something. And again, it goes back to what you were saying about there's stuff missing. You know what I mean? Because it really doesn't make sense, really. You know, the position that they're in and the position that they're taking. Because really and truly, at that time, United States, republic or not, it wasn't nothing. Like nobody only Morocco recognized it at that time. It wasn't recognized worldwide. Even in the Monroe address and stuff like that, they're talking about the emperor. They're not talking about nobody else recognize them.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? So it's not like the crown had to really listen to them like that because they weren't nobody. You know what I mean? But again, is it because of the backing of the Moors why they didn't? And then these people just took advantage of, well, hey, if ain't no Europeans going to be able to come over here and colonize this, then why don't we do it since we're here? You know what I mean? It's almost like they got the jurisdiction from England to be able to do their madness.
Yeah, because they was, at that time, they was on their 13, they was just proud of, that they had the 13 colonies, and I think there was maybe a couple of, and they was thankful for that. But, of course, the greed. But nonetheless, they there may have been a few, quote-unquote, states admitted to the Union, et cetera, at that time, outside of the 13 colonies. Because you got to remember, too, that there's certain states that weren't even admitted to the Union until the 1900s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with the map, that you see in the schoolroom today is real modern. It's real fresh out the oven type thing. So it's like, it's not, it's not accurate. If you're talking history and putting things in perspective, you can't take a modern map and do that. You really can't, unless you're showing that these boundaries don't even exist. Unless you got an actual globe, that's just showing you, like, it's the connection, of the land, how none of the land is actually separate. Globes we got to have, because outside of that, it's a very modern concept of where we're at right now, which is imperative going back to or correlating with national domicile. Like it really does have a big part. And another thing, I wanted to mention, I know if you want to, before I go on, you were saying something about the light and the dark side of the thing with Manifest Destiny. Did you want to add anything on to that? Because that was a very important point, that, it actually was defaced on the other side. So that was a great question. And is it anything else you have in comparison with that? Or, you know what I mean? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was muted.
Oh, all right, true.
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, no, you can go ahead. We're straight.
That. Cool. So yeah, that was great point, right? But another affirmation I got, because while we were there, we picked up some literature as well, and I was reading some of the literature. It's a very thick book, but it goes in on Old Tippecanoe, and it's written by, quote unquote, Freeman Cleaves, right? And on page 39, it's talking about forks, and it describes one of the Aboriginals, right? So I'm gonna just this paragraph, and this second paragraph that I read is going to be relative to the point I want to emphasize. Hold on, before to make sure that I made this emphasis too, that from the recap on Tuesday, MHHS Blog Talk Principles of Nationality and Action, I was speaking on the Hence L and Greg L story, and it was relative to Fort Monroe, and the fact that Fort Monroe is one of the largest, or the largest, stone fort on the turf, like in the hemisphere, quote unquote fort anyway. You know, it is what it is. That I'm not saying that there's not buildings, stone buildings that are bigger than that. It's just that that's what it's recognized for as well. Like, it is one of the largest, or the largest fort in the Western Hemisphere. Specifically what they call the quote-unquote United States, but like we said, that's the artificial. That's the candy house relative to the Hans L. and Gret L. story relative to the Fort Monroe, going back to the Monroe. In the Bouviers, when it's speaking about the Monroe Doctrine on page 2243, it makes a clear distinction between America and the United States, because, again, it says, while the United States exercises a sort of wardship over the New World, because it was a new world to them, but nonetheless, they already know it was people here when they got here who are Moors, and we got the host of the plantation. We got her on camera saying that the original people were not really Indians. Like, that's a matter of record. So when it's making this distinction, that was us, the original people. So again, I just want to make this clear. So it says, while the United States exercises a sort of wardship over the New World, it recognizes that circumstances may occur in which a foreign power may lawfully exact reparation from an American state. And it didn't say a United State. It didn't say a Union State. It did not say anything else but an American state. But it also previously, in the first sentence of the paragraph, talks about the United States exercising a sort of wardship over what they were calling the New World. And can really, if you really think about it, see that there's a difference between a Union state, an American state, the United States, you know, because the United States is not America. The United States of America is not America, right? America is the land, Morocco. The United States, anything is super secondary to that. Like, it really is secondary to the land. So, nonetheless, too, you know, there's in olden times there was different aspects of places that was later called United States, like United States of Mexico, Venezuela, things like that. But nonetheless, the land was America, or is America, or Morocco, before it was United States anything. But it says, in so long as the reparation does not take the form of territorial occupation, the United States will not interfere. So, you know, it's just interesting that they're making the distinguishment between the parties. So, United States and America are definitely not synonymous. And it says, an international nuisance must be abated. And if European powers are not to be allowed to do so, in the case of an American state, the United States must do so. And I'm like, damn, this is a very clear, because remember, you got the Organization of American States. So, you know, and that's not the Organization of the United States. It's a very big difference. You know, so again, going back to jurisdiction, territorial jurisdiction, identity, you know what I mean? Like, for those who want or don't really understand the fact that, you know, there's a difference between claiming your free national appellation and staying in the status or being on the record as black, Negro, color, African American, and things of this nature. in real law and in real history. Now, we know today, that they look at a lot of people the same way, like y'all all quote-unquote Negroes or niggas, etc., and try to hit people with that status, and people live that mentality out as well. But nonetheless, the real essence in that, the real energy in that, the Monroe Doctrine, keeping Europeans out, making the distinction between the United States and America, the land, or American states. You understand? Like, it's a very key part in history to help define or perceive what is what and what the difference is between the natural and the artificial. That's just a fact. So, yeah, that was the case on that. But just to bring it back briefly, real quick, I just want to share this wisdom or this knowledge, shall I say, excuse me. From the book Old Typical New, right, written by Freeman Cleaves, on page 39, it's talking about a certain captain. And on Tuesday's recap, I was speaking about a sailor who capstoned a pyramid in so-called Virginia, in the so-called Hollywood Cemetery or whatnot. But it's relative to the subject, but I want to point out something else, right? So let me just go back. At Fort Wayne, it says, at Fort Wayne, Captain John Whistler, commanding, Harrison faced a group of defiant chiefs and warriors who loudly protested the validity of the treaty signed at Vincennes. The atmosphere grew unfriendly when the number of Miamis, because remind you, going back to the Monroe Doctrine, the history of the Moors, what they call Miami, Florida, from dealing with the Spaniards, that's because that was an Aboriginal tribe who ran all up and down the Midwest to the East Coast, to the bottom of the map. You know what I'm saying? These were Moors, just a tribe of Moors. And I'll do some further research because I looked this up before, but Miami, like M-I-A-M-I, just like the, Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, Miami Beach, like that word itself is an Aboriginal tribe from northwest of Mexico, North America, who are not Indians, because we know Indian is the false brand. We have much history to back that up. We got the footage of the Pilgrims saying that on camera who worked at the plantation, knowing that, the original people were not Indians. It was just a name. So Miami was actually an appellation of a Moorish tribe in North America. And, it extended beyond what they just call Florida today. But nonetheless, it says, so the atmosphere grew unfriendly when the number of Miamis clad in British-made garments, which to me reminds me of the ancient Briton and Aboriginal Americans or Moors of the Western Hemisphere Alliance. But anyway, it says that the atmosphere grew unfriendly when the number of Miamis clad in British-made garments and bearing imported weapons distributed at Amherstburg in Upper Canada arrived and joined the ranks of dissenters. Harrison's task was difficult. Chief Buckingham of the Delawares declared that nothing done at Vincennes was binding upon the tribes. The Shawnees arose in a body and walked out together. As Harrison later discovered, his chief protagonist at the council was Captain William Wells, dark-faced interpreter, right? So now, hold on, I'm going to continue. But nonetheless, it was a dark-faced interpreter named Captain William Wells, and they say he was an Indian agent of the fort. And immediately I'm like, well, who was Captain William Wells, who was this dark-faced interpreter? And I go to do the research on the internet, right, to get, some instant results, like who is this, what's this story? And same thing that happened, I'm not celebrating this man, because from what they're saying, he was basically a double agent. Nonetheless, it just had me like, yo, they really try to steal our story, and they do it through art, just like they did Yahshua, because when you look on the internet, they pull up a European painting of this Captain William Wells, who is clearly described in his book as a dark-faced interpreter, meaning he spoke more than one language. You know what I'm saying? But they're clearly saying he was dark-faced, just like the Pilgrims was called pale-faced. You know what I mean? The pale-skinned nations of Europe. So he was recognized as a dark-faced interpreter and an Indian agent at the fort. Taken prisoner by the Indians at the age of 13, Wells had grown to manhood among the tribes and then had escaped to join Wayne's Legion on its march to the Rapids. For his commendable work as a spy, he had been rewarded with a post at Fort Wayne, prone to enhance upon the methods of Chief Little Turtle, his father-in-law, who had secured additional annuities for the Miamis at the Treaty of Greenville. And I'm like, well, I know none of these treaties supersede, certain Moorish treaties, but nonetheless, it had me more than sure of what I already know, because in here they're describing him as a dark-faced interpreter, but when you pull up the image, they got him painted as a pale-skinned, a pale-faced European, which is why, it's imperative that Moors tell the story, you know what I mean? Share this history from what you learned, how they was looking at it.
Say it again. Say it again.
Yeah, it's imperative that Moors tell the history. Yeah, it's imperative. It's on us because they're not going to do it. They've done it, but they put it in literature. You know what I'm saying? And then it goes back again, looking at the duplicity of it. Cujo, like, you can't believe everything you see on the internet. You know what I mean? It reminds me of the who just say anything on a social media or whatnot, and really have no facts to back it up. It's like the internet is not right and exact. And I'm speaking from what I'm reading in this book, how they describing this man as a dark-faced interpreter, and then how they got him on the internet looking like a pilgrim, a European. And I'm not supporting what he did. I'm just saying, like, who he was, what he looked like. You know what I'm saying? Is totally misrepresented, just like they did Yahshua. Totally misrepresented that image as a European. So not only do they literally rewrite themselves into history, they use art as well to do it, which is why we look at some of these stories we was talking earlier, because the Hansel and Gretel story had me so curious based off of this Fort Monroe and the connection to that. I started brainstorming on different things about these fables with L in it. And the first thing that came to my mind was the Rump L Stiltskin joint. And besides the Hansel and Gretel joint. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy, because that's another fable that has a lot to do with the de facto judicial system today. And I say that because, and it also has a lot to do with not being vain and boasting and things like that, because if I could just give this breakdown and this correlation to the de facto judicial system and de facto prosecutors and all of that, it's like this. So with that particular story, it was a father who was boasting to the community about the ability of his daughter to spin straw. So she was spinning, like, he said that, I don't know if like, when he said it, I don't think it was in the context of literally doing it, but it was somebody who was in the crowd who took the statement very literal. So, you know what I'm saying? They took that statement literal and reported it back to the king. Like, the daughter could really spin straw into gold, opposed to his compliment to his daughter about how good of a straw spinner she was. So, in his though he said that, it kind of reminded me of like the Miranda thing, where they talk about anything you say can and will be used against you type of thing. Is just it's that's not necessarily primitive constitutional law, but nonetheless, you have people who take things super literal and report it out of context. So, he said his daughter was such a good straw spinner, she could spin straw into gold. It was a spy in the mist, went back and told the king, basically. So the king was like, well, bring her here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they brought the girl to the king because the dude went back and reported that she could spin straw as well, that it could turn into gold. So this king puts her in the dungeon. Now, a thing I wanted to point out about this story and why it's even relevant, right, is because, like, you look at books like the Bible, and these are allegory or codified stories or codified stories, and they have actual implications behind them. What is it? Rumpelstiltskin. The story itself is over 4,000 years old. I need you to really understand that we're talking about a story that is over 4,000 years old. That's older than the King James Version of the Bible. All right, and these have morals to the story. There's morals to the story. It's not just a story, it's actually morals to it. So these stories go back to 4,000 years ago, which we can learn from and apply right now today, versus, you know what I'm saying, the legitimacy of wondering if the Bible is a fable or not. If we know how to take them for the message that they actually have, and not necessarily literal, but also understand the alphabets that's communicating the message, understand the message behind the alphabets, we would definitely be a lot better off. And sometimes they needed visuals to get the point across, which is why they had the cartoons back in the day, because they were trying to tell an image story, or based off of the image of telling the story, they call it imagination, because it's based off of imagery. But it's still, nonetheless, a story being told. But I just wanted to note that talking about these stories, we're talking about history, because the story is 4,000 years old. So the Rumpelstiltskin story being 4,000 years old, and how it applies right now today, I was asking, we were speaking briefly earlier about, like, who was the minds who wrote the story, and acknowledgement to all Moors who recognize the EL in the appellation, but nonetheless, the fact that it has historical implications for what people are dealing with right now. So nonetheless, right, so this father is boasting about his daughter's ability to spin straw to gold. The king hears about it, puts her he locks her up in a room full of straw and says that, by the morning, if you don't spin the straw into gold, I'm going to kill you. And then in other stories, it being over 4,000 years old, I could say they probably edited to where other stories say that she'll be in prison for the rest of her life. And I was looking at it like, well, if it's metaphysical, either way you look at it, it's the same thing. Because being in that status is similar to Mortus. So if he physically took her head or metaphysically took her head by locking her up forever, you know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, it produces a condition where she's under threat, duress, and coercion, right? So this daughter who was boasted of being able to spin straw into gold is now under threat, duress, and coercion to spin straw, mind you, straw man, all of that, into gold, first, Article 1, Section 10, right, for a quote-unquote king who's actually prohibited via Article 1, Section 10, Titles of Nobility Clause, to spin the straw into gold, which is actually impossible. But nonetheless, she takes on that role, and a spirit comes to her.
Quick addition. Quick
Yeah.
addition to that, just to add in, when you said the straw with the gold, right? And then we bring in the Constitution. Don't forget to also bring in the down cycle of straw into gold, which is a fraud, UCC 1 and all those stuff.
Yeah.
That you're not getting anything by trading in the straw. There's nothing to get. Because as the story goes, as the story goes, it was a gremlin's magic that was turning the straw into gold.
Exactly. But look, he came to people who was willing to trade or make deals. So correlate that to the de facto courtroom today. There's your prosecutors, plea bargains, and things like that. When you really don't have to make a deal for what's yours, you know what I mean? Like, but these people only come to those. That's why I was saying a while ago. I'm like, when they know Moors and their own proper person, they already would tell you from the rip, there's no attorney that could represent you. Like, you know what I mean? Because they already know what time it is. They only come to those who are willing to trade or make deals for something of value. But the whole time, they're spinning straw or fake substance into quote-unquote gold, which would be the fine at the end. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I mean, I'm just looking at it for what it is. And you know what I mean? And it's like, because it's like, if you're spinning all this straw into gold, right, and all she has to offer of value is her gold chain and her gold ring, like, why would you want that? If you're spinning all this straw into gold, you could take a grain and have your own. You'd be good. You don't need this. Just take it. You could go somewhere and spin one piece of straw and get the chain and the ring and the whole thing. What made her gold, more valuable than the straw he was spinning? Feel what I'm saying? Like, he wanted something of her value. So he's like, the first night, she's like, I don't have anything except my gold chain, so he's like, I'll take it, you know what I'm saying? And he spent all that straw into gold. And then the second night, the king got greedy and doubled the load. He was like, because he's not aware that the spirit spun the straw into gold. But nonetheless, he's like, well, since she did this task, let me double the load. So now he's like, I got to keep you for a second night. And I need you to stay in here all night and spin this double load into gold. From straw, though. Fake stuff, right? So this is magic type thing. So the gremlin spirit, he does it again. The second night, he comes to her. He's like, well, I'll spin all of this straw into gold for you, but I need something of value. And the only thing she got to offer at this point, or has to offer at this point, is her gold ring. So now she's like, well, I'll give you my gold ring. She already gave him her gold chain. Now she gives him her gold ring. And he's like, I'll take it. So then the third night, the king is like, well, look, if you could spin this whole load, I'm going to reward you by making you queen. So you know what I'm saying? Now he's impressed with her labor. This is not when he would want to let go. She's, in his eyes, super valuable because she could spin the straw into gold. So now he wants to possess her. So he's like, if you spin this gold, I'm going to make you queen. And third night, and was like, well, I spin the straw into gold for you. She's like, I don't have anything else left of value. He's like, well, if the king makes you queen, he's going to want a son, a child, an heir. So after I spin this and you bear the child, give me your child. You know what I mean? Give me your firstborn heir because you're about to be queen. And she was like, anything, because mind you, she's under threat, duress, and coercion. And mind you that this is bargaining. This is like prosecutors, you know what I'm saying? Trying to work out plea bargains when they really don't have a case type of thing. So she's like, at the time being under duress, she's like, whatever you want, just, I don't want to do this no more type of thing. He spins all the straw in the gold. The king is all impressed with her, thinking she's doing it, and he wants to make her queen now because she spent all this fake substance into real gold for, according to him type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And nonetheless, later on, she has the child. Now, check it out, right? The thing about it was when he came back after she had the child, he wanted the child, but he wanted her to remember his name. He wanted her, like, the only way he was going to not try to take the child, she remembered his name, i.e. remember who the hell these pilgrims are. You feel what I'm saying? But nonetheless, this was the condition while she's under threat, duress, and coercion. So he's like, if you could tell me my name, if you could tell me who I am, I won't take your child. And she couldn't remember who he was. She had a case of quote unquote forgetfulness or amnesia, or Dorothy just was coming out of the sleep of the situation. You feel what I'm saying? That she had to remember who she was dealing with, because he only came to those who traded or dealt or was ready to bargain, right? And didn't know who he was, basically. That was the moral of the story, along with the fact that boasted about her and somebody took the statement out of context to put her in a precarious position or under coercion of the king. And I'm looking at the story and I'm like, oh, wow, this is what's going on right now today, because you got people, sisters right now dealing with situations where they've taken the children from them, and the only way they're going to really get them back is if they remember who these people really are. Is the only way they're going to really get them to leave them alone, and that, knowing who they are. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's not challenges, but when these grimy gremlins are talking about turning straw into gold for you because they got the best condition, and you giving up your certain jewels and values turned real, and you got to understand and keep your value and worth, because they'll take everything from you, and then eventually the child. You understand what I'm saying? So you got the Dyfus. We already seen the videos where the brother had to back down the agent, who was basically a Stephen, who came with, other pilgrims with war instruments or firearms, batons, mace, handcuffs, slavery tools to take the child. I forgot the name of the video, but he shared it on, I think it was shared on the page, or we played the audio a long time ago. But nonetheless, looking at that story, that's how I interpreted the story, because I'm like, okay, he's offering to do all of these great things. At the end of the day, he wants the mother's most prized possession, which is her child. And he only comes to those who plea bargains or deals or trades. But it was about gold. He was obtaining gold, which was another flag back to the Constitution or the true value in certain natural currencies. And he will only come when there was a cloud over the moon type of thing. So this whole story has implications to astrology again. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, this story being 4,000 years old, how long was the BS going on, or was it prophesized? You know, because if people could look at the Bible today, the King James Version of the Bible, I'm not knocking none of the psychological help it gave to many people. I'm just saying if they could look at that as holy and prophetic, like going back 4,000 years, looking at that story of Rump L. Stiltskin, right, and Hanks L. and Gret L., right, these stories being 4,000 years old, that who was these people that was going through that, or did they prophesize that at the time? If I'm interpreting the story correct, because I'm looking at it like I see that this is what's going on in these de facto courtrooms, bro. Like they really bargaining people for their children, their property, their finance. They're fining people for pecuniary substance, fake substance. But what are they doing once they bank that? Are they turning it into gold for themselves? Like, how are they dealing with it? You know what I'm saying? Because the whole point was to turn something fake into something else that it wasn't. So to spin straw and all of that into gold, storyline had a lot of implications, man. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, check this too, that even with Rumpelstiltskin, she recognizing her worth or recognizing that she was a queen, sent out people to try to find his name.
Right. Say that, bro. Say that.
Right?
Say that.
She recognized her worth as a quote unquote queen. We already know queen is a prostitute and stuff like that, but she knew her worth. And because she knew her worth, she was able to have somebody come back to her with what the name was.
Yeah.
Which again is, you know, which again is sister getting dealt with by these whoever's, you know what I mean? Come into her senses, stop plea bargaining and whatever with these people and start handling your affairs.
Real talk.
Right? Stop trying to make deals to get out of threat, duress, and coercion and handle the matters, because you're the creator. If we're going to get out of this, it's going to be because of her. Recognizing her worth. Even again, Rapunzel, we were talking about. Her
I gotta
again,
look
going
into
back to the same thing about the story. Yeah, Rapunzel with the letting the hair down so the prince could climb up the hair and all that.
Right.
Well, so even going back to quote unquote the Bible, turn over the tables of the money changers. That's what we're doing right now.
True indeed.
These people claiming that they're IRS and whoever like that, trying to go in people's accounts and take people's finance and fine them for whatever, teach them certain things so that they can deal with these people. They could turn over their tables.
Indeed.
Because, you know, the allegorical story, you know, whether you go back 2,000 years or you go back 5,000 years, the whole point is still, did you get the message of what was told? Did you get the message, or is it just fairy tale? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
are you not going to get the message and still build a house of straw instead of bricks?
True.
You know what I mean?
True. And then the next question is, was it happening then, or was it prophecy? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, hold on, because I see the moral of the story is playing out today, bruh. Like, it still is playing out. So, was it prophecy back then, or was it going on 4,000 years ago?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's playing out, believe that. Oh, it definitely
playing out.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's playing out is the fact of it being prophetic.
Yeah.
Because it literally is playing out, but it's only playing out to those who have the eye to see it that way.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? And then you start looking at everything coded. If they're gonna put some code in Rumpelstiltskin, then you better look at everything differently that you've been looking at.
No doubt. True indeed, bro. True indeed. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And I'm just like, how the hell did we miss this, man? Like, how did we miss it? I guess it just, I don't know. Some people may have thought it, but
yes, it's the same way we miss X-Clan wearing feathers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
The same way we miss King Asiatic, nobody's equal.
Right.
You know?
No doubt.
Missed all of it. But again, it comes back to the thing of, if you have no knowledge, then you have no reference point. So, yeah, we're going to miss stuff. We're going to miss mad stuff. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
But like for example, you saying for whatever reason you're not going on the trip. You would have missed stuff. Just because weren't following the dictates of the soul.
Indeed.
Because everything that led you there was part of the divine plan, which is prophecy. Because you already knew you were going to be there.
No doubt.
Which is why you knew where to go, and everything would fall into place.
Yeah. My gosh. Talk about it, bro. And you didn't even scratch the surface yet, bro. Like, it's just a lot to absorb, and I look forward to teaching from the many different things I learned and still learning and still absorbing from this experience. And it's not just this experience. That's why I say, I'm content with the fact I think I found my true life mission. You know what I mean? I know I did. I don't want to say I think I did, but I found an additional add-on of what enjoyable, is beneficial, is educational, because that's my aim, bro, to teach. Like, we just going to keep putting truth out there and to be able to go places, have fun, and still, you know what I mean, like really preserve history. We was in a place that is in the top 20. We could load the numbers lower than that, but in the top 20 most endangered historical places in the world right now, threatened because they want to build a minor league baseball stadium in the Hyatt Hotel, about to tear down your history. You know what I'm saying? To do that. And we was able to preserve this rich history before they do that, if they do that, and it's even more than what we got, but I'm saying that all is not going to be lost, because I've seen it happen before, historical buildings that the Aboriginals built, nobody has a picture of them or anything, you know what I'm saying? And it's just sad that history is not on record, like we don't have that amongst certain Moorish ranks, you feel what I'm saying? Like, and I don't even want to say ranks. Pardon me if I don't think that was the right word. But we need to be telling our story is what I'm trying to say. that the Europeans can't do it like we're going to do it. I would say there's a lot we can learn from them. Prime example is this. They was talking about the king and queen of Appomattox, being brother and sister, right? But we're seeing it like these were sheiks, chiefs, or sachems, or alis. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they're going to tell the story as these were kings and queens. We're going to tell the story as these were sheiks, Moorish sheiks, chiefs, sachems. Not that there's much of a big difference, but it is when you're speaking of jurisdiction, because king and queen is an English title, and the Europeans didn't invent chess. So, you know what I mean? Even though that's a whole nother story in itself. But, the whole thing just got me mind blown, bro. Like, I'll share this. Where we at with time? We got, all right, we're pretty decent. In the spot, whereas, it was, a Masonic lodge, right? It was a Masonic lodge. But in the 1700s, there was this was documented for the record, like the public record. It says that there was a non-Masonic meeting held there in the 1700s, wherein the Virginia delegates were given instructions. But mind you, this is a non-Masonic meeting. So all of that, or only Masons run government, because remind you, we're talking about Aboriginals being highly involved with keeping certain of these politicians or pilgrims or modern Europeans or the pale-skinned nations of Europe. Moors had active roles in keeping them in check. Like, would show up in the meeting and keep them in check, much like when James Baldwin had to go in amongst a whole crowd of Europeans type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It was all European spectators, but he still had to, speak his piece. And
just for reference point sake with regard to that, you could look at the and it's also in Brother Alim's book, First World Order. But the back of the the back of the two note with all the delegates sitting down, and then in the picture there's two Asiatics in the picture. This is in the U.S. records. Like in their stuff, they have documentation of Asiatics part of the establishment that they were establishing. But it goes back to the thing that you just said about the non-Masonic, because the only non-Masonic around Masons are Moors.
Bottom line, period.
Because Masonic is a jurisdiction. So if you're non-Masonic, then you're obviously a free man.
Period. To even be able to hold a meeting in a lodge, your status had to be
in a lodge. Right.
Yeah, and not just in the lodge, but give instructions to the delegates of Virginia to go to the Constitutional Convention with. And this was a non-Masonic meeting. They're giving, well, quote-unquote non-Masonic meeting, but they're giving instructions to the delegates of Virginia in this meeting to take to the Constitutional Convention. You know that was Moors, period. And Moors built the whole area, and we're going to show that. Like, facts, bro. Those are just concrete, and I literally mean concrete facts, bro. Like, stone stories written in stone, bro. Like, it's just a fact. So, yeah, going back to the fact that, you got the Moor in the back of the two.
One more, when you were talking about Virginia, one more reference point. MSTA 9, the number 9.com, 9.com. Get Grand Sheik Alindi L's book on Moors in Virginia, so you can have a reference point as to the Moorish connection to these colonists being here. And always keep in mind that the colonists that came over here, the original ones, the first ones, aren't the ones that we're dealing with today that infiltrated that stuff, keeping the republic and all that. The Europeans that helped, quote-unquote, blacks get out of slavery or whatever because they knew that they were Moors. They knew the obligation that they had to the Moors.
Yeah, that's
right?
definitely a fact.
So, don't get, you know what I mean? There's Europeans around today doing more for Moors to know about their birthright than so-called Moors are doing.
Wow.
Right?
No
so
doubt.
we're not saying, you know what I mean, they could say they're Moors and they got the birthright now and all that. We're not even going there. We're just saying, recognize that, you know, the persecution that they were facing that made them leave where they were at, whether they came over here on a slave boat, whether they swam over here, however they came over here. They had direct arrangements with us. So don't let people play this game with you about does whoever recognize the Moors? You know what I mean? Don't let them go there with you, because it's a documented fact that they know over here who the Moors are.
As a matter of fact, bro.
Here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Moor.
And just want to add this on. You got to keep in mind, one of the first companies of London or England, you know, was the Virginia Company, right? And they was the one, they had a case law in the statute from like the 1600s that was talking about Europeans impersonating Moors and the penalty for impersonating a Moor. I never forget it. I know it's hardball versus something. If my memory serves me correct, it's James versus hardball. But I definitely will have that information straight by next Tuesday. But definitely, Virginia had a case law in its statute that was talking about impersonating Moors. And he was talking about all those who were free that were born in non-Christian countries. And then you take that back to the treaties where it's talking about, you know, even the corporation USA, quote unquote, wasn't founded on Christian principles. You know, but they exercised that shit to the fullest. And that's what it is, bro. Like that's what it's crazy, bro. It's just so much, man. So, you know, to finish with the videos, like I said, I have to travel tomorrow, but if I didn't, I would definitely be all in on working on it to get that up. Or we went to a couple of other places, and I'll just say, you know, that those references for the footage itself. But man, it's just so much that was revealed to us, and it was just so much to interpret. You know, a lot we got on the spot, but it's like trying to explain all of that, bro, is like a task, you know. Not a bad one, but, you know, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So like I said, even from the literature that was there, the damage they did through the artistry with misrepresenting the images of our people, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, they interject themselves. Oh, another thing I wanted to emphasize, too, was that we all heard of the Daughters of the American Revolution, right? But and this is for the sisters to understand, because, you know, like I understand there's certain things where, you know, just got to get together and just, you know, do what they do. Brothers get together, do what we do. And, you know what I mean, those types of outings or gatherings and environments from time to time are beneficial. And I wanted to say that the Europeans take that very serious, whereas they have the Daughters of American Revolution, but they also have a society called the Daughters of the American Colonies, which I thought the sisters might be interested in looking a little bit more into that. On the note of those societies, I will go in, but I'm going to save that for either the documentary or for me and my mother to consistently, you know, go back on what we learned about that. But I'll tell you this, a lot of those so-called secret societies, you know, Moors were the founders of those things, or they were directly inspired from what Moors was doing. And that is a fact, bro. Like, that is a fact. And also, I know, like, in Germany, they got blatant pictures of Moors' heads, but where we were at, it's like they still got blatant statements, but they're just written out. You know, they're written out in English, but it's saying a lot, like on the sewers, the manholes, and things like that. Like, it's blatantly telling you, much like how the Moors' heads in Germany, acknowledgement to the breath and true master, who, you know, brought back some of those images. But they're not blatant Moors' heads like that, but they're telling you a story on the manholes and things like that. Like, they're giving it up. So, you know, like I said, man, just to know that there's a lot of history right here in America, you know, North America, that we can, you know, check out. It's elating, bro. It's elating. It's life-changing.
For real. To put this out there as well, that for Moors who are coming into being active, something like that is what active is. Active isn't driving without a license and court getting stuff dismissed or whatever. That's not active.
Sure.
Active is what you're listening to right now. An individual who knows that there's uncovered information out here because it's never been looked at from a Moorish perspective. Finding information that is not only giving them, you know, spiritual enlightenment, you know what I mean, intellectual enlightenment, but causing them to actually stop and reflect, because that's really the business of man.
Damn, bro.
Like, really the business of man is, really, that's what it's really about. It's really about the 40 days and 40 nights, nothing else. The 40 days and 40 nights is going to determine what's next. You know what I mean? And you're going to continue. You don't have, like, how far do you go from where you domicile? Time-wise?
About 6 hours.
Right, 6 hours away. Got all that? 6 hours? Only 6 hours away. You know what I mean? And got all that. You know? And when they talk about
some more, bro. Like,
and more.
I'm just
You know, so we're just saying that it doesn't have to be go on a plane or something like that to bring back something for the Moors to say, oh my gosh, like, oh, I can't believe that is part of our history. Like, there's stuff here. There's stuff down the street, around the corner, that you just happen to never look up to see certain things that are and have been in our face relative to us here. You know what I mean? Like when, like, I don't think until MHHS and even the classes in Philly, you haven't really heard about Europeans being the slaves from any other platform. As a perspective in history, to really know who we are and what position we hold, like opposed to always looking at all this great stuff that we did. Like, what about other people who were around us at the time while we're doing this great stuff? What position were they in? Why were they in the positions that they were in? Who's the main cause of that, of other people's heartache and torment? And realize why we're getting what we're getting. And then realize why, Jwali came and said, hey, love first before anything. Because we have mad repenting to do. You know what I mean? So it's that time right now where all the vortexes are open for all those who are able to tap in. And what you retrieve has to be for your evolution and for those around you who are on your mind frame, who are on your perspective. Everybody else, like, they're either running to get on the boat or they really have no intentions of even getting on. So don't even waste your time. Like brother said, shut everybody down. Go do something outside of the norm. Just pick a direction and drive 4 hours.
Yeah.
Just pick a direction, any direction, and just drive 4 hours in that direction. And wherever you're at the end of 4 hours, just go see what you find relative to you.
No doubt. Yeah, and that takes
and
me back
again,
to
remember. And just to echo again, the orders of Noble Jwali that the Moors should be telling their story. Nobody else should be telling our story. Like, nobody. No one should have a say in our story. Because they've had a say in our story and they butchered it for hundreds of years. So no more storytelling for them. You know what I mean? And we know that there's Moors out there that, could be documenting and presenting more than they do. So present it. You know what I mean? Let these people know how real it is. Because they're only going to know by our activity. Islam.
That is definitely true, bro. And also, I just want to say, for those who do travel without the corporate states instruments, we definitely got a perspective for you all, on camera too. Definitely pay attention. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of perspectives. Like, I don't even. I just want y'all to know that, but I don't even want to talk about it. I just want to show y'all the perspective and present this information, in from a sincere and factual place. So, like I said, this is a lot of information to interpret and a lot of information to present. We definitely gonna put together some videos, whereas they will be able to be viewed on the public record, but also there's going to be a documentary that's going to go with Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry Part 3? Because, again, like I said, fam, on Tuesday, it smacked me like a ton of bricks. Like, when I picked up this book and started reading it, and the answers that I had from over a year and a half ago, was dead in my face on page 3. I knew right then. I'm like, yo, this like when I go down there, the ancestors are screaming to me like, yo, please tell our story, like every time, bro. And I'm just thankful that we was able to capture some of the visuals this time. Got to talk to some of the people, and I just want to say this part. We definitely going to put it all together so you can view it from your own perspective. But when we was talking to the European, he was telling us about the quote-unquote slave house and the slave trail and, how a quote-unquote slave master had a quote-unquote slave he had children with. My question to this pilgrim man was she a Moor or was she a slave? I specifically asked him that question. And he was stuck for a couple of seconds, but then he just said she was a slave. And to be honest, I think he meant she was a dark-skinned woman. That's what I think he meant. But with that particular question and answer, me already, knowing what a slave is, it was kind of like the double take, meaning because I didn't understand his answer. You feel what I'm saying? Because I know that the slaves are Slavics. So when I specifically asked, was she a Moor or a slave, that's why I asked the question from, to see where he was going to come from. And he just simply was like, she was a slave. And I don't know. We got a lot of research to do. But I'm telling you, from the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors, they got universities and buildings right now that they're using the stones from buildings that we've built as the foundation for these universities. So don't talk about, Moors can't be qualified to teach if they didn't go through whatever college. I hold anybody up to Noble Drew Ali's statement of the fact that the more they go to the schools, the more they'll defend jumping through the hoop. Because even though he's graduated college, they're full right on. Like, he didn't just say they're full. He said they're a full right on. So, and the fact that these institutions, some of these institutions got the foundation of buildings that your ancient foremothers and forefathers built or dwelt in and lived on. And when I say your, I'm talking the Moors collectively. That our ancestors built, you know what I mean? And they're going in these buildings, and the foundation is built off your ancestors, and this is where you're obtaining your degrees. But I say, well, shit, if the story of Hansel and Gretel goes back 4,000 years, and we see that playing out, where was Howard University then? You know what I'm saying? Was Howard University in existence 4,000 years ago? Where did they get this level of intuition, spirituality, knowledge, and or prophecy from? You know what I mean? And can it be categorized as prophecy, or was it already going on, which is why it was written about? So, you know what I'm saying? When we're talking about intellect and knowledge and wisdom, like, there's certain things you're not going to learn from a school, but then there's a lot of things you will learn. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but all I'm saying is that it doesn't make anybody greater and less than, because truth is truth. You know, and as it says in the Red Book, she'll find her way through any crack or crevice. So, you know what I mean? Like, the truth is what it is. It has ramifications. It's a stern energy, you know, but yeah, at the same time, it's a feminine energy because it has ramifications. So, like it says in the Law Dictionary, Henry Campbell Black's Law, 4th edition, when it's talking about the 3 different ramifications of truth, you know, it's 3D almost. Like it has multiple dimensions, but yet it's one thing. And it just reminds me of spirituality. Like there's multiple dimensions to it, but it's still one thing. Because we live in a 3D world. Because we're the third rock from the sun. You feel what I'm saying? So everything is 3-dimensional on this earth plane, which is why we can't necessarily, I know I can't grasp the understanding of the earth being flat when the 3D law kicks in all the time, breadth and width. So in this 3D world or this 3-dimensional world, you know what I'm saying? There's no way that it could be technically flat because everything is 3D. So that's just the realities of the laws that govern the third rock from the sun or the third planet from the sun, you know, say Venus and Mercury, right? And then we got the moon revolving around this, which is the fastest moving planetary body that we know of. Mercury right behind that. And it's like everything here is 3-dimensional, even though, you know, we exist on levels beyond that. We can't say that it's flat. It's just no scientific way to come to that conclusion because it's 3D. So, you know, within this 3D world, you got 2D. You know, only thing that's actually 1-dimensional is a line. A straight line is 1-dimensional. That's really it, or different lines. But, you know, if it's tangible, it's 3-dimensional. So it can't be flat or 1D or 1-dimensional. It's no way, scientifically. So I don't know more. That's my piece on the situation, man. Like, it's a lot of work to put in. You know what I mean? It's a lot more I love to talk about, but it's so much to take in, you know. So maybe Tuesday we could go back in on a part 3 with my mother back, because I know she's reflecting on some things as well. And I might just go back in. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too. Speaking of the ancestors, you know, people talking crazy, you know, biting the Moorish, the Allodial American National Identification Card in the name of, you know, quote-unquote, being Hebrew, and that Moors are jacking, quote-unquote, Hebrews, and that the 5-pointed stars, the seal of Solomon, all of this, you know who I'm talking about. The same dude who is jacking, putting a barcode product on it. In relation to the ancestors, you know, the 12 tribes of Judah are all metaphysical. They represent 12 signs of the zodiac. And we know there's more constellations than 12, but the zodiac makes up a circular formation of constellations. So it's a difference between, you know, all constellations, zodiac. So you could talk about, you know, Draco and Vega and all of these things. It's beautiful, but it's a constellation, basically like galaxies within galaxies, whereas, you know, you got Scorpio, like the leading star is Antares, you know what I mean? And then Taurus Aldebaran. It's the brightest star within the constellation. But there's still a whole constellation that makes up that zodiac sign. I mean, it's a formation. So what I'm saying is that The Light of Egypt, I suggest all Moors have that book, The Light of Egypt, Volume 1, whereas in there they break down the constellations like Benjamin. In the Bible, it's actually Aries. You know, Isidore is Taurus. Simeon and Levi, that's Gemini. The Gemini are the twins. Zubalan is Cancer. Leo, I forgot, pardon me. I forgot all the appellations. I know Dan is Libra. Joseph, Sagittarius. There's all of these 12 tribes are actually constellations, which ancillary ancient literature will lead you to those revelations. That's why I said, please, Moors, make sure you got that book in your household. You know, The Light of Egypt, Volume 1. It's a very important book to have so you can decipher the fables from the truth or see how they actually apply. Much like Hans L. and Gret L. and Rump L. Stiltskin, allegorical stories for a higher cause, if you will. So, you know, just keep in mind the 12 tribes of so-called Israel is actually the 12 signs of the zodiac. And with that said, we got 7 minutes precisely left till the live feed ends on the internet. So if anybody listening on the internet would like to call in to listen to the last hour, you can do that at 425-569-5201. That's the call-in number, 425-569-5201. But yeah, bro, before we exit off the internet live feed, you want to add anything on, bro?
No more. I'm good. But thank you.
All right, true. Cool. Well, I'm just keep it 1,000. It's we have one caller. We could take this caller. I'm up to go the extra hour, but if nobody else has any questions, comments, or concerns or anything of that nature, after this one caller, I guess we could, you know, end the show if nobody else got anything to add on for tonight. Whereas, like I said, you know, there's some travels to do early tomorrow. Like I said, I'm good. We here for the night. Take our first caller. And if anybody else wants to call in, if you just internet listening, you can do that at 425-569-5201. Outside of that, there's 5 minutes left to the live feed, and you can go back and big acknowledgement to the brethren, Najib Zavar L. I wanted to give a big acknowledgement to that brethren too, because on Tuesday I was speaking. You know, we coming up on 4 years, fam, and the brother has been faithfully supporting and getting the message out through his frequency and channel for a while now, and like, I really appreciate that. I really do, because he saw the message we was bringing real early and was like, you know what? He trusted enough to put it out on his page, and I respect that, you know what I mean? Even when people was trying to overlook the brethren, you know what I'm saying, saw the power and the value in the message. And just big acknowledgement to his page. You can go back and, you know, check out our videos on these audios on Blog Talk Radio, but also on Najib Zavar L's YouTube page. He definitely has the catalog, and I'll say I highly appreciate, you know, the extra support of just getting the message out, you know, from back then, though, like, for a while now. But that being said, take our first caller, bro. We good?
Yeah, we're good, Mark.
Cool. Call us 762-383. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam?
Peace and love, brothers.
Peace and love.
Peace, peace.
Basically, I just was listening to a lot of stuff y'all was saying, especially about that Hansel and Gretel thing, and it's like y'all been talking to my spirit a lot, brother, because, like, I'm basically been searching, like how the brother was saying, like a lot of us are just sitting here saying that we one thing and not really trying to stand fast and listen to what the Most High is telling us to do, and that's like, I've been trying for the longest to find some more brothers and sisters where I know that I'm supposed to only communicate really with sisters. And I've been trying to find some sisters or somebody that I could really build with mentally and spiritually on a level. And that's what I'm trying to do is just follow what the Most High been basically telling me to do. And it's just like kind of like a lot of people trying to throw me off of my vibration. But I just like, it was meant for me to call in and listen to what y'all had to say because it's just like a lot of things y'all was saying and really touched home. But I really just need to find some more sisters, brother, that I can spiritually build with that can get me on my level where I need to be at even more than what I'm feeding myself with. Do y'all know any, like, sisters around in South Carolina that I can get with, that I can build with spiritually?
I would say this. We know some sisters who know some sisters who know some sisters. But let me ask you this. Do you listen to the Sister Standing on Law classes, MHHS Sister Standing on Law?
Honestly, brother, like, I'm new to this whole spiritual world because the Most High just called me just recently to come in, and I'm still learning and I'm building and I'm feeding myself like I'm supposed to be doing. So it's not like I really know the outlets or where I need to go to. So it was just something that told me to, you know, keep building. And I found y'all. I found you all in this website that I can go to. So I don't have no knowledge of a lot of things yet, brother.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I would say this. We could take your information, but I would say that on your journey, a library for you to start going into, I would say look at MHHS, Sister Standing on Law. Their broadcast may be able to connect with you in different ways if you really study that catalog or that archive. You know, these are women who speak about multiple subjects that are beneficial, not just for sisters, but mainly, but also for all of us, you know. So if I were you, I would definitely go listen to the archives of this blog talk, Sister Standing on Law, also RVBey Publications. I know that there is a lot of sisters who are doing a lot of different things, you know, for in different ways. Like there's certain sisters who are more focused on, you know, giving like natural childbirth at home. There's some sisters who are into that, you know. Then there's sisters who are you know, delivering the law, you know, and people are already saying that they want to build with you offline. So if you don't mind, I'll take your information down. Like I have your number right here on the call screen. I'll take your information down, and then we'll definitely make sure you're able to talk to some women, some great Moorish women, you know, sisters and others, you know. So, what's your appellation, sister, or what they would call your name?
My name is Bey. Naima Bey.
Okay. I have you. I wrote you down. We could get the exact spelling later. I don't know if you want to give that up on the air, but I got the drift. Naima Bey, right? Naima.
Yes, yes, brother, that's correct.
All right, Naima Bey. So, and I got your number right here, and I'll make sure that I put your number in the proper people's hands so that you can connect with some more sisters.
Thank you so much, brother. Peace and love to you all.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you much for calling in.
Yes,
all right.
brother.
Indeed. Peace and love, sis. So that's a good thing. The sister's going to be able to connect with some more sisters. And that's how it's supposed to go, right, Fran?
Right. That's how it's supposed to go.
The administrative functions, you know what I mean? The sister's got to be up in there. We'll call her 443-376. You live on the air. You with us, Fran?
Peace of greens, beloved family. I am Hassan Ghazi Obey, Northwestern Maxim. How's my brother?
Peace, Moor. What's good?
Peace.
Doing good. I was just calling to say excellent broadcast, brothers. And that's all I had to say. Islam, peace and love.
Peace, Moor.
All right. Peace, Moor. There it is. Cool. All right. So, hold on. Before I told you this was a relatively new format. Hassan, if you're still there, press 1 on your phone so you can come out the queue. Okay, cool. Got it. All right, so caller, hold up. All right. Caller 860-978. Is this Anna E?
No. Peace and love, family.
All right.
Terry, well, I don't have a Moorish appellation as yet, but I haven't proclaimed, but I have declared.
You probably do. You probably do and don't even know it, bro. What's your appellation, man? Just off the break.
Terry Guthrie L. That's basically when I do my proclamation. That's what it will be. Yeah. Man, I'm a little bit new to the information itself, but it's weird. It's spiritual for me. I've always had like this the feeling and just the spiritual aspect of me going along with me ever since I was a child, and just recently, with less than within a year, I came across Taj, and I just been listening to him, and obviously, then I ran into basically the video with you and your mom, and I was like, whoa, here we go. It's like that was it. It just it like that, man. It was like a flood. Everything just started coming back to me. It's like, and it's weird. Me and my sister, I have a sister that's she's spiritual like I am too, but she just didn't know where it was coming from. And I have another cousin over there in over by the England territory. She's also spiritual too, and we share between three of us. We share informations back and forth about like different issues, like past life or visions that we see, and we can't really talk to other people about it because people think that we weird, So we kind of just keep it between us, and we just vibe off of each other back and forth. But man, I'm loving the programs, man. I mean, I came across y'all maybe about 5-6 months ago, and I just been digging in the archives, man. I can't get enough. Can't get enough, man. So I'm basically saying just keep up. Fuck them. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. We here, man. We waking up. Trust me, we waking up. Oh, that song that the sisters sing about the Moors are waking up. Who sings that song?
Oh yeah, that's our sister Miss ETC.
Yo, I gotta get that, man.
Fire, right?
DC. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was the other day I was watching one of y'all broadcasts. I don't remember which. Well, it was the YouTube. I think it was a compilation from Canaland, and I saw a little snippet of the video, and I just jumped up. I jumped up and I was like, "Yo, I gotta get that song, man." So I was like, "Yeah, man, I gotta get that, man. I gotta get that." I'm also looking for a temple. I'm looking for a temple, and I think I'd be honored if Cujo could take my number down and look me up later on about joining his. I love that brother's spirit, man. I'm from the the real name is Yamaka, or some people call it Jamaica. I'm from that territory, and so I know we got a lot in common. I kind of follow him a lot too, as well. So yeah, I miss Sister Sten. Thanks, man. I miss Sister standing on all the live broadcasts, but I caught the archive, and I was like, man, I missed the last two times when they were talking about the birthing issues that we're having on our land. And I wanted to also share that I also just went through a live birth with my son. He's 7 weeks old, and we had him home ourselves, just me and my wife, and I thought that was something that I could have shared on, especially last week's program, but I end up missing it, man. I drive for a living, so I'm always catching you guys in the archive, but I just wanted to kind of share that with y'all. And I kind of need your mom help too with some paperwork when it comes to getting him on our own family record, and like what's the best ways to go about that. So I mean, I got a lot to share, man. I'm a newly waking up Moor, and I know who I am, and I wouldn't. There's no one that could tell me that I'm not. I know who I am. Period.
Yeah, bro. Salute to that. Salute
I appreciate y'all, man.
Love.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all, man. Keep doing what y'all doing. We out here. Trust me. Trust me when I tell you, we are waking up in mass numbers. Cause I got a little Facebook page too that I created not too long ago. Not for myself, but for the family itself, and I've been posting a lot of you guys stuff up there, and the amount of response I get off of that alone, like I know, trust me, I'm seeing it. We're waking up in mass numbers, bro. So keep doing what y'all doing. Trust me, it's not going on notice. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. We're waking up, and we're getting a call, man. We out here. Thank y'all.
Word, no doubt.
And with that, I say peace and love.
Hold on, before you go though, fam, I want to take your appellation down.
Yeah.
So I can get your number to Cujo, because I'm telling you, man, like, I'm thankful you on the path, but like, it's a sad state of affairs, because you said you was looking for a temple, but not all of them are accurate, and this is not a shot. This is just the facts, fam.
No.
And
I know.
I know. For today is the Canaan land. So if I already wrote your number down. If you could tell me again how to spell your appellation, I'll make sure I text it to Cujo.
It's Tierre, like earth or pier, but tier. Guthrie, if you want to put that. That's my, father's appellation. Guthrie.
You said Guth. All right, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just put Tyree L. Tyree L. Right? Tierreel, right?
Yep.
That's Tyree, right? So Tyree L.
Tier. It's really tier. Like the earth.
Tier.
Like earth.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. All right, cool. I'm gonna send your information to Cujo, so that way you be directly in contact. Yeah, that's
all right.
All right, peace, Noble.
And I'm on the website. I'm. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead. Give your testimony, bro. We listening, man.
Oh, I was just saying. I've been on the website. I've plenty of stuff, man. Plenty of stuff. I got plenty of stuff. Half of it I haven't been through yet, and I got another shipment coming through again. So I got 3 Black Law dictionaries. I'm on this stuff heavy, man. Heavy. So I'm not playing around with this. I'm not.
True.
So with that, peace and love. Islam.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit right there.
Yeah. No doubt. Islam, Noble. That's what I'm talking about. Moors on their study path, you know what I mean? Able to get that enlightenment. Right, this is what it's for,
again.
You know?
And using that as an example again, that, active is not drive without license and whatever. Like, he has a license. And look how happy he is knowing that he's knowing more of science. You don't care about no right to travel and stuff like that. No torment, no pain in his expression of nationality and birthrights, what he's finding out. And he's new. But you have people out here talking about because somebody said delegation of authority that got them shot and stuff like that. Talking crazy.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get people to not be on nationality and birthrights. You know what I mean? Because it really is the saving power that we've been lacking.
Indeed.
You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Having knowledge. That's what it's about, having knowledge. It's not about how much silver coins you got, how much gold bars you got. It's about how much books you got, PDFs you got, how much junk drives you got with stuff on it that you haven't even looked at yet.
Right, though.
The junk drive crew, the junk drive crew knows what's going on with that.
That's what the classics.
That's the money right there. That's the money. So get knowledge, yo. Get knowledge. You know what I mean?
Indeed, bro. Indeed, bro. You know what I'm saying? But Lord willing, bro. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna give up too much, but I look forward to paying a certain respect to the sister Corinne Gaines coming up very soon, and we're gonna do this thing. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do this thing. At the end of the day, the proof is gonna be out. You're gonna have to stop disrespecting Moors, stop blaming people for shit that they didn't have nothing to do with. Okay? Like, it's a wrap for all of that. I'm just saying that, and that's with no arrogance. I'm just saying we wrapping this shit all the way up. And with that being said, man, we're just going to go to the next caller. And I'm very thankful for this caller in the 803 area code 305. Talk to us, because I know you got something to say. 803.
Peace and love, family. How's everyone?
All is
Peace
well,
and love,
man. What can you do?
That's what it is, Islam. This is James Bay from northwest of Mexham, near the Corp, South Carolina. This was a smoking show. I enjoyed it. My thing of it is I just want all of our listeners, our whole family, to realize there's a different energy. I guess you could say a shift that just happened. I think it's been going on, but it kind of, you can pretty much feel it in the air. But I think if you don't have an ear to really listen or an eye to see, it's a possibility some of our own could even miss it. So I want to make sure if you're listening, tune in a little bit deeper than you was tuning in, and pretty much just look to see what's going on, because it's really deep when you look at it. Everybody that look like you and look like me, you can't look at them and say, okay, that's a Moor just because they're Moor by right of blood, but they're not displaying that. So you can have the blood of a Moor, but have the actions of a European. So there's a big difference. So if you're actually utilizing that thing, yes, you can be happy, but you can be miserable if you're not being and doing getting up to your fullest potential. So just make sure that your mind, your heart, your soul, your body, everything is in the right place, and make sure your family's straight, and make sure you're straight. Keep your circle tight and associate. Like how we're associating tonight, we should be associating over the phone other than on the line, like how you direct the sisters to talk to other sisters, the brothers should talk to other brothers, but this shouldn't be the only time, because you have corporations who have different meetings and whatever. If they're corp, that's their dead situation they got going on. But as family, there's no specific time when family meet and link up. So if something happens right now and catastrophically, nobody will be prepared if they're not preparing for the worst. Now, the prophet said everything pretty much it'll be over by morning, but let's be prepared. So when it does happen, anything that's going to happen, let it happen. Just know that we're all going to be straight, and everybody going to hold their head and know that we got everybody in place to survive and get through whatever it is we got to get through. Islam, that's all.
Islam.
Islam, noble truth, indeed. It's a fact. It's definitely a fact. And, if we keep going at this pace, we might kick it up to where we are on even more. But for certain, we definitely appreciate your call, brethren. We have another caller. You want to add anything on before we take the next call, bro?
No, Moor. The Moor said it right on the head.
True. Thankful for all of that. So now we're going to take the next caller. With that being said, we thank the brother for his call in and chime in. Very valuable. We appreciate that. And we're going to take the next caller. Excuse me. Hold up. Caller 585-284. You're live on the air, fam.
Islam, this is Naeem. Hello?
Islam.
I hope you guys can you hear me?
Naeem.
Say again?
This sister Naeem Asrael.
Yes. I wasn't going to call in, but then it's pretty cool that the sister called in that's named Naima. I don't know. I'm not so feminine, so I kind of took the A off the end of it. But anyway, I just want to speak to her, really, because I was 3 years ago, that person, like, always saying, I'm the only one, because I'm in Rochester or near the corporate state of Rochester or city of Rochester, however you want to say. But somehow, I don't know how it came about, Cujo talking to somebody, but one day he gave me a name of somebody only 30 minutes away from me. Now, it took 3 years. That goes to show that it's not always going to come in the time that you want it. But 3 years, now there's people right in Buffalo that are, getting together and I haven't been able to get to a meeting yet, but it will happen eventually. So, for her and a lot of other people that are saying, I'm alone, whatever, you're only a phone call away. What is it? Toronto's like over five, and all this stuff is happening. You don't need that distance, really, just as long as you are connected with people. But, see, you guys can give her my number and email, nubian@gmail.com. I'm on YouTube, whatever. It's not like I have some great channel, but you could leave a message, or you can give her my number and we could talk, because we always need to talk. I really still am the only person that I know in Rochester that's in the Moorish mindset. So, eventually somebody will be here, or I'll go up to Buffalo and we'll come back here maybe, anyway. But she should not feel alone. But so just give her my number and we can talk. Yeah. That's all I got to say. Thank you guys for all of this anyways. And it was very interesting listening to Ms. Raim talk about all the information and stuff that they got from their trip. Just puts me back into that whole mindset too, of like 3 years ago when I first started. Because it is, you can't form a thought or a sentence right sometimes because it's so much. It's like, wow, so much stuff still. And, I'm pretty sure I'll pass form and there still be more stuff that, coming out or whatever. Because it's just so much falsehood or truth. I try to look at it more on the positive. So much truth that's coming out. And, yeah, so anyways, that's it. I can go on for days. But anyway, thank you guys for the show.
Peace and love.
Right.
Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I love you too. Bye.
No doubt. Peace and love, Sister Naeem. I got your information. I'll make sure the sister has it likewise.
Thank you so much. All right.
No problem. No problem. All right. Okay, cool. So I was about to say that was the last caller, but we got another one. Peace and love, family.
All right.
Hold up. No, hold up. We got another caller. Peace and love. Caller 623-907. You're live on the air.
Islam. This is Hassim Bey.
Islam.
Yes, sir. Islam, Grand Sheikh Cujo, and Ms.
What's
Murray.
good, Moor?
All is well.
That's good.
It was a great job and honorable job in what you're doing too, Ms. As far as getting that history and capturing it, documenting it, locking it down, because it's going to come a time when places like Google and these places where people going on the internet so freely might shut down, because we know the history, the burning of the libraries and books and knowledge and locking it down. I could see later on, where the internet might be $100 a month just to get on the internet to search Google or something. I see it, because they going around the world documenting and collecting. One of their mission statements is to go around the world and collect and document every book in the world, and put it in digital form. And they be locking it down under their, I don't want to use the word tutelage or leadership, but they'll be locking it down. So to do that now and lock these things down, like get some extra external hard drives and things like that, upload those things and keep them for yourself. So great job. But you guys was mentioning 1823 and the Monroe Doctrine, and it brings to mind, see, when things happen on this continent, we have to look at it from a world perspective, because 1822, we talking about the secret Treaty of Verona, all right, and we talking about the wars between, the continued wars between Spain and France, all right, and so when we talking about the islands and all those places fighting and scrambling for their independence and moving because what was going on in Europe and moving the Spaniards and the Portuguese now being defeated by France during the same time, 1822, and France now defeating Spain and Portugal, and then moving them out, and France becoming a rising power in Europe, and the Europeans here who had that connection with France when we talk about, especially when you even go further talking about 1856 in these times that all these secret treaties with the Europeans was being made. All right, so I'm just putting that on the table to make you aware, or just the listening audience aware of how deep it is, and don't just get stuck with the little bit of history that these the paleo these Europeans are putting out here on this continent, and don't think us as Moors, what happens with us as Moors affects the whole world, and so when you're talking about that Monroe Doctrine and they talking about no more European encroachment on the American continent, because now Spain and Portuguese now is moving out of the picture because of what's going on in France. So I just wanted to put that on the record for those who's listening and is studying, to always look at, when we see these documents and rereading these documents, look at it from a world perspective of what's happening in the whole world, dealing with what's going on the American continent, or northwest of Mexico, because it's very important in understanding a lot of the moves that the Europeans were making. So we read, for instance, Annie E was reading White Cargo. It's another book called When Rocks Cry Out. Something when the rocks cry out, something of that nature. And you see this when the European encroached upon the continent, and you've seen the Spaniards encroaching on the continent, and then you understand the period of time of the early 1500s when Spain put out a thing about Spaniards, about Moors, not to be called Moors anymore, and they were to be called Spaniards to create this here confusion. And so when you really delve into this history to know who's who and who's not and what's going on and how we tied together with this common core on a world perspective of what's happening here on this continent. I hope that was clear. I came across when you were talking about 1822 or 1823, because when you had said that, the secret treaty of Verona popped to my mind, and then what was going on with that Monroe Doctrine and that time period around the world at that time. So I want to yield there with that. And again, man, thank you, because like you said, you found your scribe, man. And you in strive with that, and it feels it all over. You doing that. And you always hear people talk about when they laboring or when they working or when they young and they don't know what they want to do, and people will give them advice like do something you like to do, so when you working, it's like it's like a dream. It's like you're not working. You're happy doing what you're doing, and it sounds like you found your scribe, Ms. So keep it up. Keep it up. And you too, Cool Joe. Great work. Great work. Keep it up, brothers.
Islam, no.
So I'm going to yield on the floor.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
No. Yeah. And that's the truth, fam, because, it hit me. It's crazy how it hit me even harder when I was when we was on the plantation, and certain other experiences that I experienced that let me know, like, oh shit, in certain aspects, I'm in my element of what I like to do. Like, I would never want to be enslaved on a plantation, but I'm a Taurus, sun sign. You know what I'm saying? So I love to do the field work. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that. I'm in my element when I'm doing that. That's what I love to do. I love to go out in the world because in my spirit, that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I might not want to be like, I don't know. I can't sit in the building too long. Like I'm more like in and out because you know what I mean. My spirit just is always calling me out in the world. And there's times where I have to be still, just like the earth is, you know what I mean? And it's funny because, if I'm not mistaken, all of us on the line right now are sun sign Taurus.
All three of us. Yeah.
All three of us. You feel me? So I know y'all can relate. You feel me? But it's like, you know, yeah, I love to be out in the world and capturing the experiences that, you know, some of us only are able to talk about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I did find my path, I seen, and it's not just beneficial for me and my own healing, and I'm talking, you know, putting things together from past lives. You know, everybody can't necessarily relate to that, but I know what time it is, you feel me? So that's why I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because everything that I'm doing is not just beneficial for my own spiritual growth, but I know that it's beneficial for all of us Moors, and we're going to keep this history preserved. You know, that's the bottom line. We're preserving this history. It will not be lost. If we can help it, it's not going to be lost. And
that's right.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
I was talking in the past week with the brother Bakari, and we were talking about health. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about was the environment. So you collecting that history and gathering these things up, and then bringing it to the family, you know, so that they can get an idea of it. One of the things I would talk about would be mental health, and how if family can see that and can see that history, it will also help in the healing process, you know, that mental healing process, because it's a cut in the mind. And when they're able to grasp that history and actually see it, and then make that connection of where that sort of unbroken chain there with history, and they can make that connection. Now, everyone is not going to get it, but those who get it, what you're doing is like taking us through a healing process also. So if we look at it in that manner of what collecting that history and restoring it and bringing it back, so the young ones and even a lot of older ones can see that and make those connections. Oh, man, it's just wonderful what you're doing, man, in all those aspects of healing the nation and rebuilding the nation. Islam?
Islam, Noble. That's all back, bro. Islam, yo, and I appreciate that, because that's the truth. That is the truth, you know. Mental healing, you know what I mean? Because like I find myself even trying to deal with this, going through healing, and I know that the healing is real, because Tuesday, right when we was about to start, when I came back, bro, like even though it wasn't that far away, like just knowing, just being prepared, you know what I'm saying? It just on my return back, I was speechless for like 5 days straight. I couldn't do nothing, bro. I wanted to get on the computer and all of that, but word is bound on everything I love. I couldn't even open up my laptop for 5 days straight. I couldn't turn on the TV for 5 days straight, bro. As a matter of fact, yo, real talk, man. Like I
Yes,
couldn't.
sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like good
Yeah.
detox.
You know what I mean?
And
like,
I remember
so,
Cujo was saying something like, not to cut your energy, but Cujo was saying something like that when he came off of his trip too, and he was putting it out there that, you know, sometimes you have to get away, collect those things, because when you get away, even when you get away now and wherever you go, you see those places just altogether differently, you know, and you gather all that. So, man, that's deep. 5 days of it simmering, stewing in your mind, huh?
5 live, bro. 5 live. I was just like on introspection mode. I couldn't do nothing on the internet. Like and mind you, I got a lot of footage that I already want to have had finished editing and putting up. But looking back at it, and the whole experience, you know, everything about it was just, when I came back home, I can't even put it in words. Like, I'm trying to describe how I feel, but I can't put it in words because so many affirmations was given in the whole process of the thing. Like, and all energy was present. You know what I'm saying? We had positive, negative energy around. But when we was coming from the ocean, after dealing with the ocean, like, and we wasn't on no ritualistic. I'm just saying the ocean is relative. Shout out, big acknowledgement to you, Cujo. You know, with the pulling down the Orishas like skull caps. But I'm telling you, when we saw the orange moon, you know what I'm saying? We saw the orange moon. That was like the cherry on top of the whole thing. Like, okay, you know what I mean? This is not. Period. This is the spiritual affirmation that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we was at where we were supposed to be at, right when we was there. I mean, where we have been, we just happened to be there and seen the Reese Cup orange full moon, like, until it faded out, like, and it's just so much, you feel me? Along with the spiritual affirmations, there was historical affirmations, and they both, and this is not the first time that happened to me when I went down there. That's what really got me, like, double, you know what I'm saying, uppercutted from this, from the spirit world. Like, you know what I'm saying? They hit me with double uppercut, like, yo, hold this and this. And go ahead and speak about what you just got to hold. Like, that's just where I'm at, bro. It's still like, I don't know, man. It's just like a spiritual days almost. Like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's just great.
Well, you found your scribe now. Put it in your work and let your work speak for you.
Shit. Salam, no, you already know what time it is. And I'm going to use this clip right here. Is a highlight and intro. You know that. You know that.
Sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But like I said, it's more travels to do tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go do some things. You know, I look forward to seeing some of the Riscos real soon. And you know what I'm saying? Having a conversation about the prophets. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We in the age of Aquarius, man. We in this age of Aquarius, and that's not a cliche. Yo, these are the things that what you speaking about, what you doing, you know, the work that's being put in about from all the Moors around the country, really around the world now, because, you know, you're seeing Moors calling out in Britain and all these other places now, you know, and so in this age of Aquarius, all that is happening, we got to be aware of this is what it is. You know, like I often talk about the fall, when they talk about the fall of Rome, or when they talking about the end of the Moorish Empire, you know, when you start studying those things, it was wars and little wars that led up to the fall of Granada, you know, and you just didn't wake up, walked out, opened your door and walked out, and the empire fell. And so we living in the age of Aquarius, and all that everyone is talking about and all that everyone is doing, this is what that is. This is what that is. Uncovering all these truths, this is what that is. This is what we living in, and we got to realize it and be present where we at in this cycle of time right now, and understand this is what it is for all those who know and all those who is conscious, you know, that this is what we living in, all these rocks unturning and things of that nature, you know, and when you can accept that and grasp that thing, you know, you, like you say, you feel the, what they say, the truth will set you free, make you free. You feel that freedom, and you living in it now. For those who understand this, don't miss it. For those who think they understand this here, know that it is, so that you don't miss this time. You don't sleep on this time. You get busy during this time. Be that part. Laying your brick now during this time, so that you be putting your footprint in the building of the Moorish nation, of the rebuilding of the Moorish nation, because it's already built and all these bricks is coming together. So mix your straw and make your mortar and lay your brick. Everyone, because we living in this time now. This is what it is. So I want to stop Islam and yield the floor. I don't want to go into like a preaching type of a thing, you know, but this is what it is, man. Islam. I yield the floor.
Islam, man. Peace and love, bro.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, brother. I seen. Thank you for your chime in, bro. With that being said, brother, we don't have any more callers left. We got about 15 minutes left. We don't have any more callers.
You know, good show once again. You know what I mean? Always an honor to be on the MHHS platform, putting that good word out to those good listeners out there that want to know something and feel, like the brother was saying, something's in the air and you feel it. You know what I mean? So honors to everybody listening and all the callers, and once again, MHHS Eyes Wide Open. And also to put out there, don't forget, we're going to be in Florida at the Know Thyself Town Hall meeting, July 30th, 2017, 1:30 p.m. at the West Oaks Branch Library, 1821 East Silver Star Road, Ocoee, Florida. Information 321-240-5025. 321-240-5025. So once again, Islam to the Moors worldwide for their support always. Islam to you all.
Indeed. Islam, peace and love to all Moors worldwide. Peace and love to everybody. You know, I trust natural law prevail or be perpetual, and that we really reap the benefits of the wisdom we're all collecting in these days and times. And, you know, with that being said, I know we'll be back Tuesday. I probably won't have some of the footage up from the experience I was talking about because of the travels, due to the travels this weekend. But nonetheless, by next week, you should see some more of the perspectives visually of some of the things we're talking about. Because I'm telling you, there's a whole lot. We're going to put some of what we can out there, but, like, if we was to do everything, it would probably be, like, a good, like, 8 hours, 10 hours of footage. We're not going to do that. So we're going to, you know what I mean, do some edits and put some of this work out for you all to really get the perspective of what we experienced visually, you know, of some of what we experienced, but visually, though. And with that being said, I just want to thank everybody who, you know, tuned in, called in, who's absorbing some of this wisdom and knowledge, and who's going to do some more research and all of these things. And a big thanks to you, Cool Joe. I'm thankful to, you know, be doing this. You know, we're approaching 4 years of Tuesday Principles of Nationality and Action. You know, me, you, Anna E, my mom, all of us. And as we approach this 4 years, I feel like I just graduated. I'm telling you, like, or I see my certificate. You know what I'm saying? My graduation certificate. I see it already printed out. It's like I feel like it's waiting for me based off of everything I learned in this experience that I'm trying to share with the family. That we're trying to share with the family. I just feel like if I never had a degree, that I actually see it printed out as we approaching this complete in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And that, you know, that I feel like that based off of the experience we just had, like we've learned a lot, we shared so much that now we're about to take it up to another degree. Like it's just going to another degree. That's all it is. And it's not arrogance. I'm just saying that's the real talk of how I really feel trying to absorb all of this, bro. Like real talk. Like I just feel like if I never possessed a de facto college degree or any of that, like this is my evidence. I bust any of them wide open to this information. Like that's how I feel. Like I see or the GED for all those who dropped out. Shout out to y'all. But like I just see it printed out, and you know you just waiting for you type of thing. And it's not arrogance. It's just symbolic to me. It's so much of what we've been endeavoring into for some years now, but on this particular platform for a solid 4. And it's 4 of us that's still standing on this platform. From anybody who started ab initio, salute to them too. But, you know, 4 years, it's 4 of us who's been consistently on this platform. So salute to y'all, you know what I mean? I appreciate it. It keeps me motivated. And we here, man. And with that being said, we just looking to turn up. I know I'm looking to turn up with the information for the next year and some more. And when I say and some more, I mean MOOR. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, we're going to keep just elevating, you know, and putting this thing together. So with that being said, no, you know, arrogance involved, no any of that. I'm going to yield the floor, man. I wish we had more time to talk, but we're going to close out.
So it's going to get you in. What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't in the building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, repping Friday 30s like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, we them light beings. So you might see him on the block getting his caution. Might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his vest when he's walking. See the turning heads, whispering gawking, but he's locked in and he's zoned out while we box in our own house.
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi, wisdom of the ancients can uncalcify as possible mission. Free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport, as we know by being told man knows not. Many before the cross, souls God bought, placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. Through dogma rituals, negro spirituals, brainwashed subliminal, keep thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past righteous rocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the incarnate. Whether the sky is fair or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seed. Speaking to who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. And always look to these hoes like hallucinatory pimps. Sun walked the desert, been more of a since I found God. Look back, you should see his cringe. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny you, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of fears. The sun gon' shine for what fears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack. This deep. Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place, the spoons on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces, peel back, rats, who got cases, fire stain the corridors of flemo faces, game changers, rule benders and no pretenders, style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses, send a message to our veterans, soldiers off and get it in, we on our birds, we emerge subliminal being, third eye seeing, still I participant unwilling.
They wanna break me, shake, bake, grade me, rolling with my main G, double OMG, S-O-N is crazy, for a minute that you think you could take me for a fool like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude, you mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark pools, I've been saying you mistaken me, you better move for our market, power pin is my tongue, your existence a target, revealing all lies and deceit on the market, genocide carried out in pockets, I knock it, down bulldozer, David to Goliath, it's an exposure, out some big heads ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall, round up all your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune, I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion, blowing like porcelain, haters fragile as porcelain, getting broke, tired of being broke, how we acquire hope in the deep killers of dope, just to keep us afloat, mind as deep as the boat, brain is a lethal weapon, we one need to elope, when I speak I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis Vuitton to send me poke. Cause dirty cops to kill your boy, yeah, it's a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prison. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas selling niggas just for bail position. It's like the slavery never ended with an intermission. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and make one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan. If you can't tell who it is that we be, it's the ALMOROC, stepping up in the place, ambassadorially. 2 on the right, in the middle is me. Got 5 on the left, to the ground is 3. Those who have the eyes can clearly see that.
What?
It's the Moors for sure, and you can't touch the shores unless you down. Do a treaty with us, and we entreat that you trust and respect our boundaries and our legacy. Can't get the best of me with the strongest mental telepathy. Phone book, fiat, fantasy, or recipes. Wisdom is supreme, mathematics is protecting me. Five on the left,
two on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but none in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite. Renew the old you, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
I get knowledge I got. My mind spray a lot for my alma rock. Lyrics cryptic, I'm Moroccan mystic. Use rhymes at times, enlighten a dimwit. When I'm Moroccan's flow, you drown trying to swim with. Hang rappers by laces, they tie their Timbs with. This ain't that fruity rap with cat trimming, booby traps coughing up a lung, cause my fam got hung.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but none in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite. Renew the old you, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
We are the ancients, returned on mics and beats, on ancestral realms and streets. Words sound power, shower, watering minds with jade lines and amethyst rhymes. Tiger eyes glow, scimitar showing, crystal reflections for added protection. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, lyrical bread and fish fed through the mic.
I tip your scale.
Yeah, it's dedicated to all my homies locked down. Don't give up hope. Keep your mind focused. Trigger happy, strong. Come on, take these bars and put them in your commissary. The laws is deadly, gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention, you could be home by January. I like to welcome you to my law library. Take these bars and put them in your commissary. The laws is deadly, gotta get your mind ready. Pay attention, you could be home by January. I like to welcome you to my law library. Hustlers who hustling, gun busters who squeezing, gangsters who eating, thieves who sneak thieving. If you still breathing, I like to welcome you to section 190.05 grand jury proceedings. You broke the law allegedly, and you caught a case. You sitting in the cell with your hands on your face. The district attorney, they gotta get an indictment, so they take your case to the grand jury. You not invited. Now you can let the DA go and choose your fate. Or you could go to the grand jury and plead your case. No less than 16 people, no more than 23, and panel by a superior court. Understand me, gotta look them in the eyes. As simple as can be, make them believe you innocent. You could be free, but you know it's always the flip side to every coin. The judge, the legal way, DA, they all join. And if you get indicted, keep a memory file, cause you gotta tell the same story when you go to trial. Adolescents, adults and juveniles, I hope you jotting this down. If you locked up for more than 120 hours, man, just wait. Cause without the disposition of a felony complaint or commencement of a hearing, they gotta open the gate and give you a R&R. That's your 180-80 date. This is just a briefing of the knowledge I possess. In the belly of the beast, they put you to the test. My law library, what chapter is next? Section 12010, warrant of arrest, law library.